Would you date yourself? That's the whole question. Sit with it for a second before you keep watching, because the first time I heard it, my brain did this strange little stumble, like it hit a step that wasn't where I expected it to be. Would I date myself? What does that even mean? Am I supposed to take myself out for dinner and stare into my own eyes over candlelight? What exactly is happening right now? It sounds almost like a joke at first. A little cringe, a little strange, the kind of question that shows up in an aesthetic reel with soft piano music behind it. But the more I sat with it, the less funny it felt, and the more it started to feel like something I actually needed to answer honestly. But stay with me, because underneath the odd phrasing is honestly one of the most useful questions I've ever been asked, and I think about it more than I'd like to admit. Here's the actual exercise. Imagine yourself as a character. Not you looking at your own life from the inside, the way you always do, exhausted and biased and way too close to see anything clearly. Imagine meeting yourself as someone else would. A person you just started dating. Watch how you talk to people you love. Watch how you handle stress, disappointment, a bad day, a mistake. Watch how you treat your own body, your own time, your own dreams. Now ask yourself honestly, if this person was someone I was dating, would I stay? For most of us, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's complicated, and it should be, because a real relationship always is. You'd probably notice things you love, real things, real strengths, real warmth. And you'd also probably notice things you'd gently want to work on. The procrastination. The way you talk to yourself when you mess up. The way you keep abandoning things you actually cared about the second they get hard. The way you say yes to everyone except the version of you that actually needed rest. Here's the thing though, and I think this is the part that actually matters most. None of that is new information. We already know what needs to change. Almost all of us do. You don't actually need someone to sit you down and inform you that you procrastinate too much, or that you're harder on yourself than you'd ever be on a friend. You already know. You've known for years probably. The problem was never a lack of awareness. The problem is usually the tone we use once we notice it. Most of us, when we spot something we want to change about ourselves, go straight into attack mode. We call ourselves lazy instead of tired. We call ourselves failures instead of someone who's still learning. We talk to ourselves in a voice we would never, not once, use on someone we actually loved, and then we wonder why the change never sticks, why we keep falling into the same patterns over and over no matter how many times we've decided to be different. Here's what dating yourself actually teaches you. If you were dating someone you genuinely loved, and they were struggling with something, forgetting things, procrastinating, having a hard week, being a little messier than usual, you wouldn't respond by tearing them apart. You'd probably get curious instead of cruel. You'd probably say something like, "Hey, what's going on? Let's figure this out together," instead of, "What is actually wrong with you?" You'd bring patience to it. You'd bring softness. You'd assume the best about them even while gently encouraging something different. That's the entire secret hiding inside this strange little question. Change was never really the problem. We're all capable of it. We do it all the time in smaller ways than we give ourselves credit for. The real skill is learning to pursue that change with the same love, care, and sweetness you'd offer literally anyone else you were building a life with. Here's another version of this exercise that might land even harder. Imagine your best friend described their partner to you exactly the way you talk to yourself. Imagine she said, "He calls me lazy when I'm exhausted. He brings up my worst mistake every time I make a new one. He never celebrates anything I do well, but he never lets a single flaw go unmentioned either. He's harder on me than anyone else in my life." What would you tell her? You'd probably be furious on her behalf. You'd probably tell her that's not love, that's not even close to love, and she deserves so much better than that. So why is it acceptable when you're the one saying all of that to yourself every single day in a voice nobody else can hear? If you wouldn't accept that treatment from someone dating your best friend, it might be worth asking why you're accepting it from the voice inside your own head. I think about this a lot with my own brain, honestly, because dating myself with ADHD is a genuinely unique kind of relationship. My thoughts move fast, sometimes in 5 directions before I've even finished a single sentence. I forget things mid-conversation. I start projects with this huge burst of excitement and then, days later, look at them like a stranger left them on my doorstep. If I dated myself the way I used to talk to myself, harshly, impatiently, constantly comparing myself to people whose brains just work differently, that relationship would have ended a long time ago. But I don't want to break up with myself. So instead, I had to learn how to actually date this brain. Patiently. With humor, because honestly, some of the chaos is objectively funny once you stop being ashamed of it. With boundaries, because a loving partner doesn't let you run yourself into the ground either. They gently pull you back when you're overdoing it. With the same grace I'd give someone I was crazy about on their hardest, most disorganized, most human days. My brain never asked to be this loud or this scattered. It deserves someone patient enough to sit with it anyway, and I'm slowly learning that person can be me. I want to be really clear about something, because this question gets misunderstood sometimes. Asking yourself, would I date myself, was never supposed to be an invitation to make a list of everything wrong with you and spiral into feeling unworthy. That's not self-reflection, that's just self-punishment wearing a clever disguise. The real point of this question is the opposite. It's noticing your own green flags too. The loyalty. The way you keep showing up even on hard days. The softness you have for other people that you rarely turn toward yourself. The humor, the resilience, the specific way you light up when you talk about something you love. You're allowed to fall a little bit in love with those parts of yourself too, not just audit the parts you want to improve. A good relationship, even the one with yourself, needs appreciation just as much as it needs growth. Here's something I've noticed, and it's part of why I think this question matters more than it sounds like it should. I have watched so many genuinely beautiful people, kind-hearted, soft-souled, endlessly optimistic people, get hurt over and over again by this world. By people who didn't deserve their loyalty. By situations that had nothing to do with what they actually earned or deserved. Being a good person was never a guarantee that life would be gentle back. That's a hard truth, but I think it's an important one because it means you can't fully outsource your sense of safety and love to how well other people or circumstances treat you. Sometimes the kindest, most deserving people still get hurt anyway, through no fault of their own, simply because other people are imperfect and the world doesn't always distribute kindness fairly. So, what does actually dating yourself look like, practically, day to day? It looks like taking yourself somewhere nice sometimes alone, on purpose, just because you deserve nice things even without an audience watching you enjoy them. It looks like catching the way you talk to yourself after a mistake and asking, would I ever say this to someone I loved? And if the answer is no, changing the sentence right there in the moment. It looks like celebrating your own wins the way you'd celebrate a partner's, out loud, without waiting for someone else to notice first or give you permission to be proud. It looks like forgiving yourself the way you'd forgive someone you loved deeply, not endlessly making excuses, but also not holding on to every mistake like evidence in a case against yourself. It looks like protecting your own time and energy the way you'd protect someone precious to you, because you're exactly that, whether you've been treating yourself like it or not. It also looks like actually showing up, even when it's inconvenient. A relationship where you only show up for yourself on the easy days isn't really a relationship. It's a fair-weather situationship, and you deserve better than that from the one person who's guaranteed to be there for the rest of your life. Show up on the tired days too. Show up after the failure, not just after the win. That's what makes it real. Alhamdulillah, I actually believe this kind of self-love isn't vanity, and it isn't selfish either. I believe Allah placed something worth loving in every single one of us on purpose, and turning toward that with gentleness isn't arrogance, it's gratitude. Treating yourself with less love than you'd give a stranger was never a sign of humility. I think real humility includes taking care of what you were trusted with, and that includes yourself, your mind, your body, your heart, all of it. You were never supposed to be the one person you're allowed to mistreat while being kind to everyone else around you. So, would you date yourself? I hope by now the question feels a little different than it did a few minutes ago. Less like a strange dinner date joke, and more like an actual invitation. An invitation to notice how you're treating the person who's going to be with you for literally every single moment of your entire life. Good days and terrible ones. The version of you at your best and the version still figuring it out. The version having a great year and the version barely holding it together. You don't need someone else to love you well first before you're allowed to love yourself well. You can be the one who shows up first. Patiently. Sweetly. Without waiting for permission or proof that you deserve it. You already deserve it, exactly as you are right now, mid-growth, mid-mess, mid-becoming. So would I date myself? Some days it takes a little more effort than others, if I'm honest. There are still days my inner voice forgets to be gentle and I have to catch it and start over. But yes, slowly, patiently, through the chaos and the hard days too. Choosing myself again and again, the same way I'd choose someone I actually loved. Yes. I hope, after everything we just talked about, your answer is starting to sound a little more like yes too. See you in the next one.